Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. I am Laughingboy LP, in case you couldn't have guessed. And I am sitting here with MasaeAnela yet again.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, God. I can't handle this.
And we're back. We're back with some more interview questions. On the last episode, we talked about... really, it was just like an entire episode of what makes your channel more unique than everyone else's who I've interviewed so far.
Aww.
And right now we will be talking about very recent things
Cool.
and questions that are definitely not written 5 years ago.
Nice.
In this portion, we will talk kind of about the you of today. So this will be more about your feelings and opinions, kind of about yourself, your channel, kind of the state of Let's Play culture that kind of has grown a lot within the last couple of years. And if I have any more questions, I will bring you back on because things change.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
I'm down.
Time just keeps on slipping.
It does, doesn't it?
into the future. So first question. You finished your very first LP series. How do you feel?
Why am I still doing this? I felt kind of like a little surprised because I only meant to go for like an episode or two and I actually finished a game. Oh my God, I've never accomplished anything like this in my entire life. Let's do it again.
So, I mean, how were things in your life at that point, I guess? Like, I remember you talking, and I don't remember if this was something we've previously discussed on this show, or maybe you've discussed it somewhere else, but I know that you spent a lot of time like watching your mom play games and watching like your parents beat games instead. Had you by that point played and beat a lot of your games on your own, or?
By that point, yes and no. By that point, my parents had fallen out of video games. They kind of passed the torch, as the case may be. They're like, "Hello, we have to deal with life now. You can play video games. Entertain yourself, child."
And you're just sitting there going, "About time."
Yeah, pretty much. And that was when I was younger, but at the time, I had not really beaten a whole ton of games. Like I played a lot of Zelda and I played a lot of like old school Mario, but Super Mario Galaxy was super popular around that time. Like there was Galaxy and I think
holy crap, I just got flashbacks.
Wind Waker at the time too. I'd never played Wind Waker. And there were just a bunch of games that were super popular that I never finished. And so I kind of dove headfirst into it. I got more into the PC gaming around that point. So I was definitely a lot more into like the shooters and MMOs and fighting games and stuff like that.
What fighting games did you play?
For a while I was super into Melty Blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got really into Melty Blood. I don't think this really counts as a fighting game, quote unquote, but I was into like this game called Guns, which was a shooter / hack and slash match game, deathmatch game. I got super into that too. It was a bunch of games. I could go on and on with my list of PC games that I've played, but
and I think that was like
more my gear.
That was like in the weird era, because like when I was in high school, I played a lot of games that I think if I mentioned them, people would just be like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, pretty much.
And like there was a Diablo clone called MU. That was the whole name of it. And like
I feel like I remember that.
It was semi-popular, but it was also super free.
That's always a thing, right? It has to be free.
And I think there was oh crap, it was really popular when I was in maybe like freshman year. I think it was like a Worms clone. Something. It's like Gun something. Gunbound. Thanks. Yeah.
Dude, I played that.
Yeah.
I absolutely played that. Oh, that one was fun.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with that one.
I played that one for a good while. That was actually my problem, was that I kept playing these like really small popular games, and then we'd move on to the next one as soon as I started getting used to it.
Yeah,
and so
same. I did the exact same thing.
the last time I was like, no, I can't do this anymore. You keep I keep installing games that I don't play. The last straw for me was World of Warcraft.
Oh, dude.
Everyone was like, play World of Warcraft. It's a lot of fun. Have friends. Be online. And I was like, no. People are just going to stop playing it in a month. I'm not going to bother.
Oh, no.
Those were the
And
exact
that was,
words out of my
the
mouth.
one that everyone stuck with.
The exact words out of my mouth. I was like, I'm not going to install a game that I'm just not going to play in 2 months because everyone's moved on. Whoops.
Oh, no.
To this day, I have not touched it.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, dude. Well, WoW Classic is coming out pretty soon. Probably be out by the time this video goes up.
Come on now. Only I get to put myself down.
Hey. I wasn't putting you down.
Oh, that's fine.
I was just saying that it's literally coming out in like a month.
You're right. It will definitely be out before this comes out.
Yeah,
But
that's more what I meant.
I don't know, because I even now, like, I have some friends that now Classic is coming out. They're just like, you should play it. I'm like, but now it's a time sink. You should have asked me back when I was in high school, when I would have told you no, because I don't want to play a game that nobody's going to play in a month and a half. You can't win with me. I'm an unwinnable battle.
I feel that though.
I don't want to play time
Literally
sync games.
Same.
I will play Animal Crossing for a month, and I don't even want to look at my 3DS file anymore. Pretty sure Isabel's dead. I'm pretty sure she moved to Smash Brothers so that I would play her.
She's found food. She has dilapidated buildings.
That's right.
There's plenty of weeds for her to eat. She's fine.
Yeah, cockroaches.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Protein, see?
Yeah. Please don't break the window. She has food, water, and we're playing her favorite music.
Yep.
That's right. So wow, got really sidetracked there. Does that feeling of accomplishment kind of stick with you now?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Why am I still doing this?
No, I meant more like wow, I accomplished something. But once in a while, why am I doing this? Mainly when I have to edit something huge and I'm like, I really don't want to do this right now.
I just want to go to bed.
Yeah. But no, I always get a charge whenever I feel like I've overcome something. And that's part of the reason why I put so much effort into the editing, because like when it works and it looks good, then I get a super huge charge out of it. And I'm like, yay, I did something good.
I can relate, at least in terms of like the Photoshop stuff that I do to create these layouts. Like when it looks really good, you just feel really excited to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's like cleaning your room, kind of.
Ew. Nah.
Well, it's like,
can't relate.
It's like how I feel when I clean my room. I clean my room all the time.
When I clean my room, I just feel exhausted. I'm like, it'll just be messy again tomorrow. Why bother?
I'm just going to have another bowl of month-old tomato soup sitting there. So
in one day.
They grow. They're like fungus.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. You trip over and it's like, oh, that's there again?
Yep, exactly.
How do you feel about making Let's Plays now in terms of just like making them from start to finish? Has that changed since like your popularity has grown?
No, not at all. I mean, yes, it has changed, but change isn't necessarily like a bad thing. It's changed in the way that when I make them, I'm a bit more geared towards making people happy and making something that people enjoy watching. When I first started out, it was a lot more casual, and I mean, I just pointed a freaking camera at the TV and called it a day. Like, no one's gonna see this. Why put any effort into it? Now it's a little bit different in that I'm a lot more focused on like, oh yeah, people are gonna laugh at this. People are gonna get excited about this. I'm really excited to show everyone so and so thing in this game, and the things go on and on and on. There's definitely a bit more of a thrill and also a bit more pressure that comes along with it to actually make something impressive. And it's kind of a good thing because it keeps me on my toes and keeps me from getting lazy.
I mean, there's definitely some pressure to want to make something that looks good.
Yeah.
But I agree. Like, to know that that there's some kind of like that return of investment.
Yeah.
And knowing that people are going to kind of see this, and I think as we've kind of discussed, whether you get that recognition for the exact thing you did or not, like, people still appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and now has those feelings changed now that you're like, you've been monetized for a while? Has that changed since before that point?
Not much. Like, yes, there's a little bit more of a responsibility, quote unquote, thing going on where it's like, I'd really like to get Starbucks once in a while. I'd like to be able to afford my little drinks here and there. That'll be okay, right? But for real though, it hasn't really affected my my overall attitude towards it.
I was about to say, is that what the revenue is for YouTube these days? Oh, good. I can buy a venti this month. One of these days I'll have the stars to buy a free one, like the people with the money do.
If I do better next month, maybe I can get a scone with it.
Oh.
Dude, Starbucks is expensive as heck.
Yeah, it is. Don't get me started.
It's barely worth it, but also their drinks are so good.
Don't make me talk about my addiction.
It's real good, but real expensive.
When I record, I stop myself this time, but I typically want to have Starbucks or coffee of some kind when I do these.
Mm-hmm. Same. So much same.
I think I have it to the point now where my Twitter picture, or like the picture I use for everything, has me holding a cup of coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, where? I want to see this. Oh, I haven't noticed this.
You don't follow me on Twitter, do you?
Don't call me out like this. God. I do. Excuse me. I do follow you. God. Calling me out.
For no reason.
Calling me out when there was nothing to call out. Yeah, I see your cup of coffee.
It's right there.
Neato. I like that.
That is by not me. You can go find her at Tabrakadabra on Twitter.
She's great.
I've commissioned her a lot throughout the years, and like everything she's made has been just on point.
Yeah.
It almost feels like I gave her like very little information and she'll still give me exactly what I need. So. Yep. But, also all the other artists I've commissioned throughout the years are very excellent. Tangla, Dude, and Wembler. Great artists.
Wembler's great too.
Yeah.
I like Wembler.
So, are you as anxious or as excited about each new series as you are when you started? Or do you have like more confidence, or like, I guess the excitement is there?
Ooh, I feel like since I'm more used to it now, in some ways it's less, but at the same time it's more. Because now it's that same thing where it's changed a little bit, so that I feel like, man, I really want to make a good impression. I want to do this right. I want to make this something that people will enjoy. And it's that extra added layer of wanting to make something good. And that makes the anxious tendencies to pop up a little bit more than when I first started. But they're still there, especially starting a new series. Starting a new series is the hardest.
Well, and
It's just, they're
well, I was gonna say, this is it's not a question that I originally wrote down, but I think the more I've talked with people, the more this question kind of pops up in my head, or the topic does. But are you specifically anxious about the games that you're picking out? Because that tends to be like a common occurrence of people I've talked to, where they're like, I don't feel confident, or I'm worried that this series will come out and people will not like it.
honestly, I think it's less that and more the episodes themselves for me. Because the things that I play are generally things that people are excited to see. And that's just like my taste. I play a lot of Nintendo games. I love Mario, I love Zelda, I love all of these cute little things, and most of my audience are pretty much down for anything. And I think that is also perpetuated by the fact that I do Twitch now and I do variety streams. So people are used to me playing just literally whatever.
Yeah, I think
so
that also
it's a little bit different.
Yeah, and I think that also comes out where in your earlier days, and I guess we'll kind of talk about it later, but like Tales of Vesperia, not a Nintendo game, but you do like. I always felt at the time, and this is probably still true now, that on YouTube you are crippling yourself by not playing a Nintendo property. Or like I feel like there's that, if it's like an unspoken onus in the air that people feel the need that like to be relevant and to remain popular, to play Nintendo based franchises. And
I definitely get that. Yeah. Like Nintendo franchises just do really, really well in this setting. They do exceedingly well. And I guess for me, I'm a lot more apt to, I mean, I haven't done this in a while, but if I were to do something off the cuff, like let's say an indie game or something a little less known, then I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to play what I want to play, and I'm going to make videos about whatever strikes my fancy. But if I am concerned about that, then I'll supplement it with like a side series of something that is Nintendo. And I feel like at that point it balances out a little bit, at least for my audience, because people who are interested in the Nintendo stuff still have a trickle of content coming in. Even if they're not interested in both of the things that I'm working on, they still have something.
Yeah. But I guess at the time it was refreshing to see like, okay, maybe you're playing Zelda, but you're also playing Katamari, and that's clearly a PlayStation property. And then again with like Tales of Vesperia, Xbox 360, or at least it used to be.
Yeah.
So
It's kind of strange though.
Seeing it on a Switch?
No. I was gonna go in the Katamari direction again.
No worries.
It's kind of weird because I feel like Katamari is probably one of the most successful things that I do.
Yeah, I guess.
It's
look at
weird because it's not a Nintendo property and it's not anything like that, but it just does really well.
And I think maybe it's one of those things that feels at home. Like,
yeah.
It's
probably
not like,
because I incorporated it so early.
Yeah, and it's not like you're playing, all right, here's Captain Toad, and then followed up with, let's just do Gears of War 3. That sounds good.
Yeah, that would be a super huge shift. Just in the way of tone, that'd be a really big shift.
You gotta ease them into that.
Yeah.
We start with some Killzone. A game with murder in the title. Something like that. Yeah.
No more heroes.
No. Ooh.
Oh, you're excited about that one.
Wait, hold on though. Like, are you serious?
No, I'm not serious.
But you could be.
I could be. But I'd have to play the game first. I just know that it's super gory. I mean, I would play it. I would absolutely play it.
Because that's like, hey, it's on Nintendo. It's a Nintendo game. You can't fault me for that.
Nintendo game.
It is a Nintendo game. You cannot fault me for that. April Fool's Day. There we go.
This super mature game for April Fool's Day. Oh my god.
But no, we're serious. We're actually continuing it. So what is your family, speaking of like extra gory games, what does your family think about what you do?
They're fine with it. They're totally 100% supportive. My dad was a little bit standoffish at first. He was like, excuse me, but this is not a career choice. Yes, it is, Dad.
It's called anime, Dad. I mean, I think there's, again, this might be a question that was probably a little bit more relevant back then when I wrote it, but I think there's still a lot of people that sort of say like, oh, this is content creation, and then this is a real job, like, you know, being an accountant versus being there's, and I think that it's still there, like there's some disparity there, but that will kind of exist throughout. But I think especially in terms of telling or like opening up to your family about this kind of thing,
I think these days it's a lot harder to actually like dispute it, because there's some very, very successful content creators.
I mean,
a lot more than back then. And it's like, even if you don't view it as a quote unquote real job because it involves video games or whatever, like people are making livings. People are surviving on it. Some people are thriving on it.
Some people are making so much money. I mean, back then when I wrote this question, I mean, the most popular YouTuber out there was PewDiePie and to an extent Game Grumps. Yep. But I don't even think anybody could have seen Game Grumps and anticipated Ninja.
Yeah.
He
Ninja came out of nowhere, actually.
So much money. Just by, and he's the first person to become an exclusive streamer?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
It's an interesting time in the content creation circle.
Just when I thought the bubble was about to burst. Moving further along with your parents and everything, and it's a good question to bounce off of, but I know you've done a lot of multiplayer games with quote unquote Momanela. How did that come about?
Mother's Day. No, that like we just was like, hey, you want to make a video? What, you want to name some Super Smash Brothers characters, which she did really well in, actually. I was not expecting her to do as well as she did. She got Ness. Why?
Did she know?
She knew. I don't know how, but she knew. It's funny because that video actually did really well, and I still get comments on it to this day. And like every once in a while I'll get that comment and they're like, "You cheated.
You told her.
This is fake.
You told
her everything." I don't know.
You did it for money.
Mom's a nerd. My mom's a bigger nerd than me.
I've seen the Discord.
Yeah.
I don't think I could ever be that like good at Splatoon.
Yeah, she's real good.
And then what is like your favorite part of just doing those episodes?
Just sitting down and like bonding with her and getting to play a video game and take her out of her comfort zone, especially because she definitely has the specific types of games that she likes to play, and she kind of like sticks to that for the most part.
For 1,000 hours or more?
Yes. Much more. Closer to 2,000 probably.
Holy crap.
But it's fun to take her out of her comfort zone and see what sticks, and just seeing her reaction to certain things.
Well, I think the interesting one for me was just the We Party You stuff.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. Which I think was another Mother's Day episode.
Yeah.
Or I guess they're
They were
generally
all
just
Mother's Day episodes.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important aspect of Let's Playing? Do you kind of look at the quality of the commentary, the quality of the audio visuals, or being like informative or entertaining? Like, what is the one thing you try to
Honestly,
focus on the most?
For me personally, or just in general?
For you personally.
For me personally, it's mostly being entertaining, I feel like. It varies from game to game because sometimes I'm a little bit less knowledgeable than what I probably should be, and those definitely are not informative at all, and I kind of run and fly on just improv and talking off the cuff and stuff like that. So probably more than anything it would be the entertainment factor.
Okay. I personally I keep looking at audio visual quality, and again it's nice to kind of hear different answers from different people, but I think for me it's really hard to say words as I'm trying to say words.
Same.
So I guess that's something that I would like to work on, but I'll move forward.
You seem to do well enough to me, honestly.
I
You don't
bounce
give
off
yourself
people.
enough credit.
I bounce off people, but if I were to sit there and play a game on my own, I'd be like, "Welp, this is The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening." I'm your host, Laughingboy LP,
Davies.
Cody Davies.
Cody Davies.
That's my name.
God.
That's right. So different channels kind of have varying opinions on sort of like the length of time, which is funny because I forgot to start the stopwatch, so I don't know how long this episode is.
Fun.
Different channels kind of have varying opinions on what the appropriate length of time an episode should be. Like it can usually be like, 20 minutes and we're done. I think some other channels do like 10 minutes. Do you think video length and having strict cutoffs is just as important as you record each episode?
Yes and no. I feel really bad because you asked me these yes or no answers or yes or no questions, and I'm just like, yes, both.
I'd like both,
Both.
please. Yeah, BOFF, both.
Both. But no, for real though, it's kind of one of those things where, yes, it's good to kind of have a good idea of how long you want something to be. And maybe for consistency's sake, so that people know what to expect, stay around the same amount of time. But at the same time, you, especially in like story-driven games, say like an RPG or something, you really don't want to make an episode that feels like got nothing done. Because then it's just filler. And it's like, oh, well, what was the point of this episode? Then you kind of lengthen it a little bit to get a solid like beginning, middle, and end. Like you had a goal, you accomplished something in this episode, and then you can end it. Like that's more what I focus on. Obviously I like to try and keep it digestible. For me, my sweet spot is about like 18 minutes. Like if I hit 18 minutes, then I know I should probably start wrapping it up fast. But it really just depends on what happened during what happened while I was playing the game and what kind of game that I'm playing.
Yeah, I think in especially one of my sub questions for this being like dependent upon the game, I think there are just cases where you cannot avoid 20 minutes of cutscenes.
Yep,
it's very
exactly.
rare, but especially in JRPGs, it's definitely possible.
Yep.
And so do you sit there and go, well, this is a 20-minute cutscene. Do I increase this episode by an additional 20 minutes just to have some kind of gameplay, especially if you've never played it before and you don't know what's coming up next?
Yep.
So I personally, I used to do these where it's like 20 minutes, cut it off. Like I don't care if we're in the middle of a section, but I think personally now, I try to at least finish the section, although in this case we won't. But I'll at least get to a good stopping point.
Yeah, that's the main thing, is just like that good stopping point.
Yeah, having that beginning, middle, and end. Does it, in certain games, does it cause you to want to frame episodes around, like, do you frame what you're going to do per episode with the idea that it's going to take longer or shorter?
That depends if I actually know the game well. For games that I do know well and I know I'm coming up to something really long, then yeah, I'll have it in my mind already. I'm like, oh, buckle in. Buckle in. I'm not leaving this house today.
I'm just going to do side quests all day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some story.
A little bit.
A little bit. If you're good, if you finished your homework. And then
my homework of go and grab little Timmy some eggs from the egg basket out back. All these
You think
fetch
he's
quests.
grabbing his own damn self?
I know, right?
Andrew can get the chickens. She doesn't have to stay there. There are no chickens there. So she doesn't need to watch over the chickens she doesn't have. She should be going out and getting the chickens.
I'm just sitting here thinking about Dragon Quest Builders too. My chickens.
I mean, everyone really should be sitting and thinking about it. Maybe not while you're listening to this episode.
Yes.
But in your own time, at night, when you have nothing better to do. I mean, why aren't you playing Dragon Quest
relax.
Builders? Exactly. When you need to sleep, you should be playing Dragon Quest Builders instead.
I can't tell you how many times I've dropped my Switch on my face.
I've been extremely close. I've done it to the point where I've almost dropped it off the bed. Like, I guess I should sleep.
Yeah, my notification that I should sleep now is when I have a black eye from my Switch hitting my eye.
It's so much cheaper than a phone.
Yep.
Who hit you, Masae?
My Switch. Dragon Quest Builders 2 hit me.
You don't have to protect them anymore. You're safe now. Blink twice with your good eye.
I don't have one anymore.
You're right. It is dual analog.
Yep. It is. God.
And I think the last question that'll wrap up this episode, speaking of creating a frame, do people often tell you're an inspiration to them?
My heart. Yes. And once in a while, and it just...
I was about to say, how does that make you feel?
Warm and fuzzy. Warm and fuzzy and honored and flattered, and God, I'm just a nerd. Literally just a nerd, guys.
Wait a minute. I'm a nerd too.
Yes, exactly.
I could be like you.
Andrew, you inspire me.
No, I don't.
Yeah, you do.
We're gonna end this episode.
Yeah.
We'll talk to you guys next time.
Yeah.
Because I feel weird. We'll finish. We'll wrap up. We'll talk about some other things that's going on in your life. We'll be right back, and by right back I mean maybe October.
Yeah.
Of 2020.
Oh.
Are you guys enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake? Let us know in the comments.